Acknowledge their. Hi, and welcome to another segment of the Art of Black Psychology. My name is Yvonne Monique Livingston, and I am acting as Yvonne Monique Livingston, LLC. The Art of Black Psychology is what I do. And today we have a special guest. And, before I get ready to loose her and let her tell her story, I just want to say that I'm absolutely proud of this young sister and what she's been able to accomplish in her short time, right? And it's been a very beautiful experience watching her grow from a teenage mom to an adult woman taking care of business. Kamaya, take it away.
Thank you for the introduction.
Hey, you are most welcome. Trying to get the production up on you. Can be famous, girl. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone who's watching. My name is Kamaya. And as she said in my introduction, I was a teenage mother, still mother current, and I work for the government. I'm not gonna say where, but yeah, that's my occupation. I'm also into music. So right now I am creating my own brand.
Nice.
My talents are songwriting, poetry, self-portrait photography. I can also do landscape photography as well.
But wait, you didn't give us your full name. I just said take it away, Kamaya. So who is Kamaya? What is Kamaya's name fully?
My full name, you want my last name too?
Oh man, or your artist name if that's all you want to share. That's all you want to give us. Give us a name.
Okay. My artist name is Kim Seer. My many talents, as I was saying before, is rapping as well. So I can rap. I just discovered that about 2 years ago when the pandemic first appeared into this earth. So when you are forced to be in the house quarantined, you bound to find yourself in many surprising ways. And that was one of the things that I discovered about myself.
Man, that's really awesome. I discovered some stuff too, but we're gonna come back to me. Let's talk about you and your rap discovery. Like, how did that come about? Like, what triggered that? I mean, what got that started? What made you want to do that?
Well, I met up with an old grammar school friend, and I used to go over to his house from time to time when I get free time. And he's a rapper himself. He's been doing it for a very long time. Shout out to Dean Akbar.
Okay.
One day I just was listening to him rapping and discover songs, listening to beats and stuff like that. And I just got an interest to see if I could do it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And I rapped my first bar, as they say, line. And I just fell in love with it ever since. And now I'm on it very heavily because I did find a sincere interest in it, because I feel like, it's my own therapy of what, in regards to the environment that I am in currently and where I used to be in. So it's just a self-expression as of our art is.
So when you say it's like a form of therapy to you, let's expand that a little bit. Why did you need to do therapy? Is it so? What prompted that?
I was never against, face-to-face verbal therapy. But I did found that it wasn't really for me. I'm not stating that is in a bad way. It's just I wanted to try another not revenue,
Mhm.
eventually revenue, but avenue.
You said the right word, revenue. That money.
Yeah, I know,
Okay,
right?
go ahead.
Avenue to express myself in a more intimate way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I express myself with words, with a pen and a pencil, and sometimes with my phone to type on Notepad, on a note app. So yeah.
That's actually something that um, what's done in therapy is you get you get asked to journal a bit, right? To write out your thoughts so that you can get them out of your head and on paper. And sometimes what I've been able to find out too in artistry work, so me relating to another artist, what I found out is like when I go back and read it later, it's almost like a message, right? And it's not just a message for you, it could be for anybody. And so I kind of, playing around with maybe spitting some bars myself, think I'm a think I'm a join into the rap because I did a therapy training today. It was called Hip Hop Heals. And so that's the kind of concept that what you're doing, you're using music, to heal what's going on in your life, right? And the things that was going on in your head, you were writing them down. And then that's what happens, right? You put it to some cold beats and you get your first bar and you're like, oh man, that's nice. And then you go on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Smooth, right?
Yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
cool that you were able to do that. So how far do you think you'll be able to go with it? Like, because I've heard, right? Like I said, I just did the training today, Hip Hop Heals. And so going on your style of music, do you think it's hip hop or rap? Because they said it's a difference. I don't know.
That's a good question. I would describe my rap foremost poetry. Just strictly poetry is just mounted to a beat and to a rhythm. I'm not just talking like how we are. I'm actually instrumenting my voice, making a different, like bringing characteristics into my voice, bringing more characteristics to a beat, because I feel like, it's good instrumentals out there. Instrumentals also tell a story, but when you speak words into it, that makes it music. That makes it a song, should I say, a song.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
yeah.
And so when you did do the the journey of healing yourself, right? Through the therapy, because you said you had to sit by yourself, right? And so you start writing out the things that were in your head. So what was that writing like? Like give us a snippet of what you wrote down.
Oh man, I wrote so much. I felt like I've been writing since I was like a teenager. When
Mm-hmm.
I began to be like 14, 15, that's when I really started to write. And then it formed into poetry and it just developed to that. And then, as a teenager going into a young adult and then an adult, it changed dramatically because the things that I was experiencing, you know. Um, I, I came from a two-parent household that eventually, unfortunately, became a divorce household. I moved away with my mom. And, I was still in contact with my dad. My dad was very active in my life. But when you come from a divorce, foundation from being in a two-parent household, that is a very burden change burden. Like, it's like a part of you is missing physically in your environment. So I did felt some form of loneliness for a long time. I just didn't know how to describe it when it happened because I was just only a kid. I was like, what, 11 years old when it happened? 10, 11 years old. So it's funny because as a kid, I did play with toys. I did. And I didn't realize until now that I think about it, my sister and I play Barbie. That's what we played. That's what we called it, Barbie. And little do we knew that we were basically doing playwriting, freestyle with Barbie dolls. Like, they was really having like a life experience is what we see on TV or what we see outside of home or inside of home. We were just like acting, you know. So that was interesting, you know, to even think about that right now in that way. But yeah, that was another form of expression, play. You know, I also took child development classes as well. Play is a very important form of growing up. Everybody needs to play. Even as adults, we all need to still play. We still have to cater to that childlike.
Absolutely.
That childlike mentality, that childlike in us, our inner child, as they say, you know. And I feel like music, poetry, and all of that fulfill and cater to that childlike mentality that we have within all of us. So yeah, as going into my teenage years, I developed different types of relationships, you know, boys, you know, girlfriends, having girl problems as far as like periods and mood swings and all this stuff.
Right.
All this stuff.
I remember that.
All play a part of our decisions as teenagers.
You are not lying. That is absolutely true. And because you don't have full development of your brain at that time, you know, there are many mistakes, you know, that happen that are made. You know, I've made plenty of them in my life. I know for sure, definitely. Because my story kind of resembles your own a little bit. And why I can kind of resonate with your conversation, like with that play, you being childlike, because when you do have children, that is part of the process and showing children how to play and how to get along, you know, with each other and with peers. So we teach our children many things by still being childlike. Because that part is important. I'm glad that you shared that, because that was something that I always tried to do with my own family, you know, just still kind of be childlike, but, you know, plenty of mistakes.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Right. So the child play that you and your sister were doing, you were acting. And so now that's kind of in hindsight, something that, you know, you see that you really can get into that and you can really expound on it. And so with the writing came the songs and the bars and, you know, you just remembering everything that happened. So tragedy makes you write, or is
exactly.
That? Okay.
Anything makes me write, anything.
Okay.
It's just a form of acknowledgement that I'm alive. It's just reminding me that I have feelings. It reminds me that it's a strong possibility to live for tomorrow when I write. Because once that ink hit that paper, it's there forever unless you tear it up and throw it away.
Right.
Because we can't absorb or remember every little detail. Notepads and stuff holds memories. And I feel like that's very important to journal. And I actually is one of my favorite gifts to give as a person, to give people journals.
You gave me
because
one. I have mine.
yeah, 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 it's just my thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I see a cool journal at the store and remind me of somebody, and I was like, you know, I mean, I'm very mindful when it comes to stuff like that. I grab it and give it. You know, also another form of gifting as well is candles, because I feel like scent really helps with memory as well.
Mm-hmm.
When people smell something, it gives forms memories. It can be bad memories, good memories, or it can form another relaxation for the body. So I like giving out candles and even like body butters too. And I like to give. I'm a giver. I am. I like to give clothes too. Like, you know,
I'm a
style.
recipient.
I like art. You know,
You do.
everything's an art.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm kind of resonating with myself, and why I started the page that I have, right? The Art of Black Psychology, because
Mm-hmm.
it speaks to how I think and how I frame things. Because, growing up as a going through my teenage years, and becoming a teen mom, was very challenging, right? And so mentally, because I wasn't fully developed to make conscious decisions about my life and how I should be living and with little to no guidance, um, being on your own, making those really tough cognitive decisions,
Mm-hmm.
you lose yourself, right? Um,
Yeah.
and then by the time I was 25, I think I had 4 children. So that was a very stressful time for me, um, let alone trying to become like this,
Yeah.
where the artistry is able to come out because I've had a different mindset. My mind has been formed and changed in such a way that I think about myself first, and it's through love that I found my art. Because, I had guys telling me, he was like, oh, you show me how to love. And I was like, oh, wait, did you show it to me? Did you give me a little bit? No, I'm just joking.
Mm-hmm.
Because you first have to love yourself so you can understand what it really looks like. So when you get it, when somebody says that they love you, you got something to compare it to, the love of
Yeah.
yourself. How do you treat you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what stayed in my head eventually, was at the pandemic. So that's why I laughed when you said during the pandemic is when you really started noticing, those gifts, because that's when I started noticing mine around the pandemic time, because we had time to just be ourselves and be in company with us. And for me, I don't know about you, it was
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it was a tragic experience being by myself and understanding who I was and what I did presently, to change my future. Because, when that stuff collides like that, you was thinking like, what the hell was I thinking, back then?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out when you write. And because when you read it back, it sounds like a song, it sounds like a rap, a beat, because it's a rhythm to what you currently now understand about your life from the past. And that's what kind
Exactly.
of, some of your music, some of your lyrics, when I was listening to it, that's what it sounded like, some healing. So why don't you, I'm trying to get you to sing us a song.
Not sing a song.
Okay, okay. But just tell us, what was the writing like, and when you put it to the beat, because you do have some songs, because you just recently performed, right? So,
Yeah, I
so
did.
how did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how did they all come about?
It's just my experience. I felt like, you know, I think me creating the music that I have currently kind of just like gave it, acknowledging it, and don't be so shameful of it,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's like a tragedy or trauma experience, because people do bad pain for some reason. They do. People are immune to it, especially those rich folks. Like they love suffering, like they like to see it, you know? I don't know why, but they do, but it's not fun experiencing it, but okay. You want to buy my pain, shit, I got more for you. Okay. But my lyrics means everything to me. Every time I listen to my own songs and revisit those moments I had, it kind of reminded me like I had to listen to again, or this is a dope metaphor, or yeah, this can mean something else too. Like it kind of like remind me of if somebody else was to listen to it. Just the different types of experiences they have while listening. So I repeat my songs all the time. I really do. And my lyrics, they're simple. I try not to like wordsmith it so much because I am also speaking to children in a way too, for them to understand, but also use more advanced words as well. So if people was to hear a certain word, I'm gonna look that up, what that means. And when they look at what it means, they was like, damn, that's a deep ass word to use in that song. Even though it's so easy to say, it means a lot. It can be like a 4-letter word that means like a whole paragraph, a definition of a whole paragraph. So I like to play with words a lot. It's interesting. I have so many multiple experiences and ideas that I can't just choose one off the dome to just say, to talk about or spit. Because I'm still processing it in a way. And I don't put a timestamp on it either, you know, because this is my first project that I'm doing. And I always contradict myself as well during my project, you know, development. Because I have to go through those feelings, the doubts, the confidence, the yes, the no's, all that shit. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It kind of rhymed a little bit.
Huh?
It kind of rhymed a little bit.
It's beautiful. Do I have a favorite yet? All of them are favorite, but is it one that like stick out the most right now? I think the song Bipolar on Drugs stands out more because this is what I see and this is what I experience all fucking time. You know, even though
explain that a little bit.
Bipolar on drugs. It's a story, it's a backstory. I'm going to try to make it short as possible.
Okay, go ahead.
So I came from being a teenage mother. It's not the teenage mother part, it's the relationships I have with the fathers that makes the experience shaky, dramatic, and transparent, it's just everything. But being a mother is not a burden. It's just becoming a mother with who I decided to lay with at the time to create something so beautiful that meant so much to me to this current day became a very unfortunate story to tell. So, not saying too much about another person because they're not in the room, because I do respect, you know, telling my story on my point of view instead of their point of view because they're not here. So, okay, how I came about bipolar on drugs is I used to be a heavy marijuana smoker due to the stress I was going through, due to doing a lot of shit by myself, knowing that I had help around, but I was just so focused on being an independent person that I lost myself within it, because I felt like I put that pressure upon myself because everyone around me kind of was like pretty much independent, People had their own apartments, people had their own cars, and I was just trying to figure out what the hell I want to do for the rest of my life. I think that was the biggest burden on my brain and my atmosphere, to push myself to limits that did not justify my means as a woman at the time. So I couldn't handle all that pressure, and the only way to handle all that pressure, to fight myself, doing it to myself, is to numb it all. It's kind of a little blurry to remember when I started smoking marijuana. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I just know that I relapsed twice from it. And by doing drugs, it did develop a mental diagnosis in me. First, I was labeled as bipolar schizophrenic or something like that. And then when I relapsed and had another episode, they call it bipolar type 2. And I know deep down inside, in a divine way, I knew the reason why I was given those titles is because of the marijuana and the stress that I was going through. It wasn't me as a person. It was just me reacting to the reflection of the environment. It's not who I am, it's not what I'm about. It's just, those were the labels that was upon me when I would have my mental breakdown that formed into a mental illness in the professional field of psychology. I wasn't too proud to say what I went through to certain people, especially new people or people that, that's around me, because it get bad reps to say. It's just like when somebody tell you mentally ill, you do feel like you're weak. No one likes to be weak. I know I don't. I do not want to be weak. I do not want to be labeled as weak, helpless. I'm not capable of being stable within myself. Excuse to blame things that really in my control. And I knew better. And I had to, and that forms to shame as well. So I wrote bipolar on drugs. I heard a beat. I heard this beat, and it was very it was talking to me. At first, I was going to rap about a relationship, and then it just magically came into another form of a song, like another meaning. And it means a lot to me because it's my truth. And when I play it back, it doesn't give me bad memories. It just reminds me that I love myself so much to the point like I can speak upon it and not be ashamed to talk about it. Yeah. So a lot of people like it. A lot of people like it. People F with it.
Well, you should do a little bit of it. Let me hear it. I haven't heard it yet. I heard the other song.
Heard?
No, I haven't heard
You
it.
never heard bipolar on drugs?
I haven't. No.
Oh, Amanda did. Yeah, Amanda did. Okay. I mean, I can rap it right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This piece is called Bipolar on Drugs. It took me a week to make it. And I revised it about 7 times. And here it goes. This gotta be a smooth one. This pain weighs 2 tons. Revenge hold 2 guns. Finna go pop, duck down, salute shot. Most shit doesn't make sense. These niggas around here got a bitch bent. Can't believe the shit. Words hold no evidence. None of it is relevant. I'm so pissed. Wave my bad no more, baby. Why can I get another try? You on my time, count cents in me seconds. Placing you in the past tense.
Move finna get reckless. Gotta cut my words out. I'd rather be stoned out, pass out on my homie's couch with no regrets, no doubts. Wake up like, damn, did I have another blackout? Time for another ounce. Ready for a high as my nerve bounce. Hope this shit hit right like the first time. Killing myself for a rewind. None playing for the loose mind. Want more when I feel a dance. Now, understand why doves cry. This feeling got me messed up. Release the smoke like a good nut. Mix emotions for the lace blunt. Withdraw on the forefront. Looking for the weed man like a manhunt. Backward, ready for the roll up. Hold up. Pacing like a man on the train, so loose west with the cane. For the love with the Novocaine. No time, committed pain. Vice, got my soul chain. I'm a slave to it. Took a long time to admit to it. I'm a friend, still do it. Post on the block, hot box in the car. This shit better hit the spot. Not in the mood, still stuck in the blues. Don't ask why I'm not here for the interview. Too focused on the revenue. Call place in the queue. No one to turn to, living in a damn loop. Lack of rest, stress, want to get high for the manifest. Looking down at the borderline, want to reach cloud nine. Feeling sick to the L-vine, detox from the moonshine. Words can't be defined. What to do when the truth is an allegation. Mastermind of a temptation. Clear visions of the violation. Praying to God for the salvation. Depression, oppression, lasting deception, misconception. Why this pain holds so heavy? All my homies getting buried. Can't deal with the crazy spell. Drugs fucking up on my brain cells. This the only way I can rebel. Pain so heavy on a metal scale. Now I understand why dust cry. This feeling got me messed up. Release the smoke like a good nut. Mix milk for the lace blunt. Withdraw on the forefront. Looking for the weed man like a manhunt. Backward, ready for the roll up. Hold up. Pace on like a man on a train, so little squares with the cane. For the love of the Novocaine, no time, committed pain. Vice, got my soul chained, I'm a slave to it. Took a long time to admit to it. I'm a friend, still do it. Post on the block, hot box in the car. This shit better hit the spot. Committed to the climax. Antibodies come fight back. Hit the body like a hijack. Fish so complex. Back stuck to the matrix. Witness to all this madness. Puff it in with a passion. No feelings of compassion. Move finna get malice. Need more of that cannabis. Jones finna get this cash in. My man can't handle this. Facing the world reflection. No form of protection. Hold on to a feeling of a let go. Still looking for what I need though. Questioning why I'm here for. Hope I don't die from an overdose. And that's bipolar and drugs. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
I cry to it sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You cry when you perform a song?
I cry when I listen to it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those, I feel for it. Like, I don't even think that I wrote it. I don't think that I rapped it, wrote it on anything. I just outside looking in sometimes. Sometimes I outside looking into my music, just imagine myself as another person that's hearing it. And it's kind of like, damn, I remember feeling all those emotions. And just sometimes tears come down. And that's what I wanted to do. Because tears kind of form a sense of acknowledgement of how you feel like inside. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I'd like to think of it as cleansing, right? And good for the soul. I was in a conversation earlier today in a meeting, and I kind of felt the same way when you're taken back to those type of memories that were, painful while you were going through them. And then you go back and you revisit that scene, it's almost like you experience it again, but then you're like on the outside looking in, and I try not to judge myself, when I have those flashbacks like that, because I'm not there, I'm looking at now, I'm in a better position, I understand what's happening, however. And so now it just gives me a new perspective like it gave you, so you're not there anymore, but you're able to empathize with you being there. And that's the love and growth that you experience. When you're no longer there and you can appreciate now where you are. That's that reflection part, you're on the outside looking in.
Yep. It's like I picture myself hugging that person, my old self. Like I'm hugging when I cry for her. It's me hugging on her, because it's like we're not there anymore. But look at it like this: you had to go through that to make this type of content. Don't regret going through that, because I'm not the only one. I'm saying you as like, but it's just the outside looking in.
No, just talk.
Like
yeah,
it's talk. Like you're not in that space anymore. But there's many people that still is. So this is your revelation. You know what I'm saying? That you created into an art form to just remind you that you came a long way, Kamaya. You came a long way. You went through crazy spells twice, and you've been to a mental institute twice, went to rehab once. And that's funny, because the second time I relapsed, I didn't go to rehab. I actually took the old tools I had from rehab and just read over it. But overall, it's funny. It's funny because I knew better all along. It's just, I was feeding into my feed, like the Bible says, sometimes you feed into your flesh and not your mind. Like, those nerves, you feed into your nerves because it's unbearable to face sometimes. So you puff shit in for the passion, because you want that passion, you want to feel like you're there, but you don't want to be there. So it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind in a way, as a metaphor. But when that high is gone, still facing or in a problem. So what you gonna do?
Exactly. And I think that's part of the struggle, right? Is after the high comes down, what do you do? And I'll say for me, when I started experiencing, from the pandemic and starting to change and shift, that the high was me admitting the wrongs that I did and giving and taking that power back. The say that, I can do all things, right? Again, we're taking some scripture from the Bible. And you're able to do that type of elevation when you said you're sorry and your behavior changes. You become a new creature. You become someone new in the flesh, so that the flesh and the mind works, right? To say you're able to now mindfully control your responses to what's going around you in your environment. And should a day happen that you slip and you fall, it's your humanity and then understanding that you can still pick yourself back up and keep moving, because you didn't go back into rehab the second time. You took the information from the first time and applied it again. So that's you cognitively making a decision to say that you've been through this training once, you knew better. And so now you're just using what they gave you to fix the situation. And now you've turned it into stinking art, girl. That is absolutely amazing. That's the gift of artistry, learning from your mistakes, and now you're turning it into something, and it's going to be, lucrative, right? You had your first performance, girl, you did fire. You were so
good. Even though it was like a little mishap, but I kept going. I felt like when that mishap, it was out of my control, but at the same time, it was still in my control, because, I feel like, when you create with other artists and they know your language, artists have like a certain language that, with your hands, with your eyes and stuff like that. And I just naturally use those tools to make the performance a lot better.
Right.
And I kind of feel like when I look back at the video, I was like, it looks like I've done this before. I never did it before. Like for
Right.
myself, no, I never did it
Right.
before. Like, okay, I look good. I look good. I look
You
good.
did.
Right.
You did.
And I
So,
also learned some stuff as well by performing. I feel like next time I would like to have a more intimate environment that's like a little quiet, because I feel like it's funny because the two special guests that stopped me to compliment my performance, they was like, "You're so lyrical," and people are not like that anymore with music. So you should definitely keep going. I would like to, hear more. And it kind of gave me the, it's just more confirmation to keep going with it. But I also like to listen to other people and their music and just see how the crowd reacts and what they into. I'm not going to reach everybody. I don't have the expectation to. I really don't give a fuck to. Excuse my language.
Okay.
But
okay.
it's something for everybody.
Right. It's something for everybody. And your music may not be for everybody, and that's okay.
Okay. It really is.
That is really okay. And that's a great attitude to have. You know what I mean? Because when you look at stardom, people are like, oh, I want everybody to like me. I want everybody to do this, to do this. But you won't be liked by everybody, and that's a good attitude to have going into something like this.
Exactly. It kind of blocks your creator within yourself when you focus on the likes and the comments and your ego. I just want to be myself. I think that's the most valuable thing about being an artist. It's just being yourself and not be the self that others expect you to be. That's like the worst type of thing. That's why I'm not like it. Don't get me wrong. Who don't want a revenue from your art? Like, I would love that. I would love to get paid for it. Like, whoop-de-doo. But at the same time, this is for me. I do this for me. I just chose to share it. So that's all. I'm not looking at it as, oh, I'm gonna be like famous. I low-key don't want to be famous because I am an introvert. I love staying to myself. I love being quiet. I love like people to stay away from me sometimes because I'm my own company. I love my own company.
Right.
So yeah. So when people do hang out with me, they be like, you're just so your presence is just so like calm. And then that's why I'm like, to be diagnosed as schizophrenic and bipolar is kind of like the total opposite of who I really am as a person. That's why I was like surprised. I'm like, this what drugs could do? Like turn me into a mental illness? That's crazy. So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
First off, you're not crazy. And let's just put that out there. You're not crazy. Because I wasn't crazy. So I know you're not crazy. Because my life was a little more difficult because I took on a lot more than what you did, right? And so I didn't use the word crazy. I used another word. We won't get into that. But it's, Vicky Pryor said to me from the Change, Create, Transform Black Scholar program that I'm in and a board member of, she said to me one day, she called me because she had read one of my stories about being a single mom on Facebook. And she said to me, she says, life doesn't happen in a vacuum. You had other mitigating circumstances around you that made you make the decisions that you did. And that was just really real. It was so real that it made me cry. Because, a lot of times, you're made to feel like everything is your fault, and that there's no turnaround from that, especially when you're doing something by yourself. and you're not getting the help and the guidance that you would need to do something like, to be a great parent, I would say, or a parent that is at least conscious enough to give their child their own autonomy, which, by the way, you do an excellent job. So Secret Child, Kamaya, my baby mama. I mean, my baby. She's the mother of my grandson, Idris and Demi. And so it's like, when you understand those things as a mom, that's why I wanted to help you, because of what my experiences were. And so when you understand that it's that type of help out there, then it's okay for you to gravitate towards that. And that was always my goal. When I see single mothers, especially young ones, I want to help, because that was me. So your music resonates with me because I went through some of the same things that you've gone through. And again, I had more children, so my responsibility was greater, and I put some of the responsibility out for my children, the older ones too. So it creates a dynamic that, or a structure, I like to call it violence, because we were all caught up in it. We were all caught up in the decision that's been handed down. And we won't get into all of that, because then I'll be taking over the conversation a lot more.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, I mean, trauma do spills off the table and leak. It really does. And you can't put a time limit on the domino effect on how it affected others. So, maybe in the sometimes in the back of your mind, and well, at least back of my mind, I was like, when are they going to heal from this? When are they going to get over it? But it's none of my business. It's really none of my business. You just have to speak your piece and just hope best for the person who's going through what they're going through from that spill, from others. My grandma told me, hurt people. That's true.
That's one of my sayings too. So that's something that's been passed down orally, right, to our families, that hurt people hurt people. And in order for hurt people to stop hurting people, you got to show them love, which is what they put out. And so that's the work, though, and that's the labor of love, because that's the only thing that can do it. And everybody can't do that type of work, because it requires a sacrifice. And selfishly, in our human form, right, in our human bodies, in the flesh we're speaking, right, because we're still talking about the Bible, it's hard for you to do that when you want to think about yourself first in such a way that it might be harmful to you or to the other person. And that's not okay. That's not love. Love does not cause any form of harm whatsoever. And I had to learn that. So, and then hurt people. Somebody got to be willing to stop hurting. And I was willing to stop being hurt, so starting to love me, that was the new game. And I'm a winner. So I totally get that concept and how to reverse it and begin to heal and see something different is to heal ourselves first. And that's what you're doing to your music. And I absolutely love your journey, because it's so creative. And the beats that you got, along with those lyrics, be popping. Okay? I like it.
I love beats.
I'm not really a hip-hop earlier or anything like, back in the day stuff, because it had meaning. And so when I listen to your music, it has meaning to me. And that's why I say, yep, you're a lyricist, and you are, just like the other artists said, you're going to help a lot of people. So yeah, you keep going with your music and however whichever direction it takes you. I'm excited for your future in your music. I really am. And rap on your government job. What is it?
Oh, I might get fired if I rap about that.
Okay, don't lose your job. Don't lose your job.
Woo.
Don't lose your job. It's cool. But I'm glad that you're able to laugh and you found an outlet, in the things that happen to you in your life because laughter really is the best medicine. That's why I be telling jokes about what
Oh, most definitely.
in my life. I read like a horror story. I wonder if Jordan Peele is taking any new stories. I could give him a few. I can give him a
Yeah.
just based off my life. Okay, we can
Mhm.
too. That's the artistry in telling the truth. Hey,
Mhm. Yeah, it is.
speak around.
Yep. Truth
So is,
make a
it,
statement for real.
so is there anything else you wanna share with us before we wrap up? Your social media handles, like how can we find you and listen to your music? Is it for purchase? Where you gonna perform next? Do we have to pay for a ticket? Like what's going on?
Uh okay, well, you can find me on Instagram. Facebook is for my personal. But you can find me IM_Cam KAM_Seher SEHER. That's how you can find me. My page is very low key, so when you follow me, you special. Just know that you're special. I do follow back too. So what else? As far as my project is called Don't Skip Shit. Don't skip shit. All right. It can mean whatever comes to mind when you hear it, that's what it means. But what it means for me is just like it's the saying that says speak the truth even if it shakes,
Yes. Yes. Speak the
So
truth, even if it shakes.
it shakes,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't shake your ass.
Shake, shake, shake. I'm shaking the
All
ground.
types of
I'm
stuff.
stomp on it. I shake the ground.
Yep, shake the ground. Shoot, words are definitely a vibration. So don't skip shit.
Exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Words are a
Yeah.
vibration. I like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
dope. That's dope.
Yeah. I try not to get in some that don't cause a blame, But for real, I gotta be mindful because people are sensitive these days, it's funny because I just did a live video about that. Like, you got to look at situations as a science nowadays. You can't even take emotion. You got to take emotion out of it, even though emotion is part of science. But I kind of feel like, don't take it too personally. Just like look at it as like an experiment, like a science. Like, oh, okay, verbals and hypotheses and all that, all that good stuff.
Emotions are a feeling of expression, and you can let
Mm-hmm.
over you while you go through the process. And if you need some help, there's a lifeline called a therapist. Check her out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and on another note, I appreciate you doing this because I feel like the art of Black psychology is a huge stepping stone. You stepped on a lot of stones that lit up like the yellow brick road with it. So I think you should keep going with it because I feel like the Black community or any form of community needs to be aware of our psyche, of what we go through. Because even though people all lives matter, that's true. But unfortunately, we don't live in that reality at the end of the day. You can say it, but that doesn't mean it's really happening. So I feel like, people need to be educated
by African Americans, Native Americans, whatever you call yourself nowadays, whatever your nationality is, the psyche is our environmental to our mental. So
Thank you for that.
no problem. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I received the
You're
praise.
welcome.
Listen, I know I've come a very long way. You know, you can attest to my growth, and that's what I want. You know, the old me and the new me to coexist together, right?
Of course, hold hands. Kumbaya.
Because I know what not to do and what to do now, and that's the dance move, right? Like,
yeah. I kind of feel like there's no such thing as a mistake. I feel like we just live through experiences.
There you go.
We grow better. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the experiences of knowing what to do and what not to do.
Not to do. What works for you and what don't. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I only want to feel love, so I steer away from the things that don't make me feel loving about myself. You know, so whatever I want to do to show love to me, that's what I give to others. Now, it may be appreciated, it may not, but I'll always appreciate how I show up to give me love, because I know what it felt like when I didn't. You know what I mean? The low self-esteem, the accepting of anything. I'm no longer there, and I'm happy that that part of my life is over, because now I know my worth. And, you know, acting and walking in it is what I strive to do every day, and to show others how to do it by accepting your behavior. And if you don't like it, simply change. And if you can't and you need help, there's a therapist.
And you know what else is my favorite saying too?
What's that?
If it don't apply, let it fly. Let that shit fly.
Like a bird.
Yeah.
And then I say too, I just posted it, right? If you can't do anything about it, don't let it take space in your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to overcrowd a brain. That's stress.
Yeah, let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Okay.
Yeah. That's a good I love Disney. But yeah. Oh, that's DreamWorks.
I don't know.
I forget.
I just heard.
I think it was Disney.
Yeah, I heard my grandmother singing it, so I don't know. I stopped watching TV a lot of times.
She snapped on that song. She really did.
But thank you so much, Cam Seer, for doing this video, this interview video. We learned so much about you, and thank you so much for sharing. It was greatly appreciated. And this is not the last time we will hear from you, right? Because you are on the move.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're going to see that name in lights.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm only young. It's only entertainment.
Great entertainment. Okay, y'all. Until the next time, the Art of Black Psychology is going to sign off. But look forward to me doing more videos with not just young people, but my people too, and whoever that may be, right? Because we're just looking to change our communities through love of self, and love thy neighbor. Until then, peace.
Flip side.